Right back to it, never left out. Except for that week I had strep out. Know the shit boom when we come down south, and I had to bring my own little metro.
What a freaking masterpiece. When Netflix comes out with shows like Narcos, Stranger Things, now we have You, and Ozark, which is another one of my favorites, I really am curious, what the heck are they doing over there to create shows like... Before I go into my review, I just want to give you all some context. Now, there's going to be a ton of spoilers. I just want to go through everything, you know, the show and all that, and let you all know what's going down, so that when I explain why I think that this is, you know, one of Netflix's best shows, you'll start to understand why. And I'm also later on in this video gonna talk about why I think problems may arise in season 2, and I don't know if season 2 is gonna live up to what season 1 is, if they come out with a season 2, which, you know, they probably are. So Joe is a bookstore clerk, and the first season is all about trying to understand him as a person. However, watching the first episode, I found myself liking Joe and questioning whether he was a good person or not, but we're gonna get to that in a second. Within the first 10 minutes of watching, we have a pretty good idea that Joe is somewhat twisted with his way of thinking. After a brief encounter, we see Joe immediately obsess over this chick named Beck, who is a young chick that catches Joe's eye as she struggles with figuring out who she is, what she wants, and defining herself as a person. Got a little carried away there. Joe is constantly focused on this chick Beck as she just casually walks into the bookstore where he works. As Beck goes up to the counter and is purchasing a book, Joe's narrating to himself, and he basically says something like, "She's using her debit card? She wants me to know her name. She definitely has enough cash on her to buy this." Netflix did a really good job showing Joe as a multi-dimensional character, and we start to see Joe may be a more complex person than your average stalker or serial killer. You see Joe continuously going out of his way to be nice to people. For example, Joe is coming home from work one night with a submarine sandwich that he's gonna eat for himself, or it's his own dinner or whatever. And as he comes into the apartment complex, he's about to go inside, he sees his neighbor's son, Paco, sitting on the steps. So Joe and Paco are chit-chatting a little bit, and you can hear Paco's mom and her boyfriend fighting in the background. It's clear Joe does not like Paco's parents fighting while Paco's sitting outside. So Joe offers Paco his sub that he brought home for his own dinner, and Paco refuses. Then Joe insists on Paco taking his sub that he has, and mentions that, or says, "Hey, I have Thai from the other night. If you don't take the sub, I'm just gonna throw it away because I don't want my Thai food to go bad." You know, and we find out later that that was all a lie, and he ends up eating saltines and peanut butter, which I found extremely relatable, because if I'm broke with no food, I'm gonna be eating saltines and peanut butter. I always have spare saltines on deck with the peanut butter jar, and I mean, if you're a poor person, you know how it be sometimes. I don't think there could have been a more perfect first episode to any show. I mean, you're just immediately caught up in all of the mystery that's going on, the wanting to find out, and I really enjoyed that. I love a show that keeps me thinking, keeps me on my toes, whether it be suspense or, you know, just stuff like this, trying to figure out, you know, like, well, what happened to him as a kid? Maybe he's like this because of that. Maybe he does have emotion, you know, just certain things like that. So now that you know a bit more about the show, let's talk about why I think this is a freaking masterpiece. It has a lot to do with the character Joe, and you kind of question, like, what he's gonna do, because it's like you're wondering if he's a good person because he's making good decisions and he's doing good things, but he's also doing things that are highly inappropriate and pretty extreme. So we're getting into the review part of the video, and the show got 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's a decent percentage, but why did you get 89%, and then the movie Cam got 93%. And then You only has 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. And then Cam has 6 out of 10. Oh, wow. Cam has 94%. And then 6 out of 10 on IMDb. That's insane. Why did Rotten Tomatoes? I feel like a lot of the time I feel like Rotten Tomatoes will give you a better review if you give them money. I think that's how that works, because that doesn't make any freaking sense. 6 out of 10 on IMDb and then 94% on Rotten Tomatoes for the movie Cam. Let's check out some of these user reviews. We're going to be looking at IMDb because I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes right now. Here's the first one that pops up. 9 out of 10 stars, good premise. The show has a hint of Murder, She Wrote and Dexter and is so good. The performance is spot on from all characters, while Penn Badgley is outstanding. Penn's performance of a dual personality / mannerisms is riveting. His character's need is continually drawing audiences in just to leave you with a question only answered by paying close attention to details. That is honestly I feel like that's a perfect review, because that's my review pretty much in a nutshell. Like, that's what makes the show so amazing. They introduce characters all throughout the season, even close towards the end of the season. They introduce some characters, and these characters don't have a lot of screen time, but it's important that they were there, and that's really what I love so much about the show. Everything matters, and if you're not paying attention, you could lose track of where you're at in the show. And that's what I love about it. And it's not like a boring type of paying attention. Like, it's like you love paying attention because you love figuring out these finding these small details and figuring things out, right? Ooh, the second review that pops up, made for Penn Badgley. I also agree with that. That's the title of the review. I love this! ! It's dark but yet sexy at the same time. Penn does an amazing job narrating, and he makes creepy seem alluring. I can't think of any other actor who'd do a better job. He makes creepy seem alluring. That is a definite, because it's like what he's doing is supposed to be creepy, but you find yourself enjoying him as a person, and he's such a good watch. I definitely agree with that review. This one says oddly uncomfortable. I watched this without expectation. I hadn't heard of the book. I hadn't seen any previews or descriptions. What I found was a pleasantly dark show. It's uncomfortable and unpredictable and has what is hopefully an amazing story to tell from a unique perspective. I didn't find the show to be uncomfortable. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. We're put into the head of a stalker who seems to be a hair's width away from violence. The tension is held well, but what really made it feel uncomfortable for me was a rather odd choice from the network. Swearing is censored out. There are these suspicious blanks in the dialogue. It had me obsessing. When you've got a show this dark, who the hell do they think they're going to offend with a little swearing? Are they expecting kids to be up watching? Now, this person gave 8 out of 10. I really hope they didn't give it 8 out of 10 because there's like no swearing. I actually admired that about the show. There doesn't need to be cuss words in every adult show. I actually didn't even notice that there wasn't really any cuss words in it. And I think that just really kind of embraced the fact that there weren't really any cuss words in it. I think that embraced the show. Like, we don't need cuss words. I feel like that's a very small-minded type of thinking, or maybe millennial or something. I don't know. Its content is far more offensive than swearing could ever be. Apart from that one very annoying point, it's a brilliantly put together show. I'm looking forward to watching more, though I'll probably find myself at the TV about the missing dialogue. Missing dialogue. I did not feel like there was any missing dialogue at all. But I'm not a movie critic, you know what I mean? Like, I can't, let's see if I can find a good one. Lifetime's best show. I enjoyed Carolina Kepin whatever book, but I thought it would be difficult to pull off a successful television series from the source material, and when I found out it was going to be on Lifetime, I became very worried. Luckily, Lifetime put their best foot forward, thanks mostly to Penn Badgley's portrayal of Joe. His dark, witty performance carries the show and encapsulates the entire show. He walks the anti-hero tightrope beautifully, and it makes for engaging cinema, hopefully, as the show sustains its quality throughout the entire series. Now, that's definitely true. I mean, without, Penn Badgley as Joe, the show wouldn't be the show. He definitely carried the show, for sure. As far as sustains its quality throughout the entire series. Now, my theory is for, if there's a season 2, which I'm sure there will be if you all saw the ending, and I'm actually going to have an ending explained video. I'm going to make that another video, but for season 2, the problems I see with season 2 is that we've already really gotten to know Joe pretty well, and that was a big part of why I loved the first season so much, is just learning, being able, just trying to understand Joe, learning about his past, learning about who he is as a person, trying to figure out, is he a really good person? What, just understanding what kind of person he is. That's one of the main things that I was so captivated into the series. So I think what they're gonna have to do for a season 2 is they're gonna have to add more thriller, more suspense, maybe make it even more dark, so that it keeps viewers watching, right? Because we already know Joe pretty well, unless they add more to it, which I think they're going to, but it's just like, at this point, how much more can they add? I don't know, but I'm very, very excited for the season 2. I will definitely be watching that ASAP. Oh my god. Let's look at this 5 out of 10 review. What? Should have quit while they were ahead. I wish they had made this a mini-series instead of an ongoing series. It's been renewed for a second season already. As a miniseries, it would have had a satisfying beginning, middle, and end. As it is, it's just going to go on and on forever with no resolution. I don't believe that. I think there are shows out there that, that are going on a series, that have multiple seasons and stuff, and I think that when they end the season, they do a good job with that. A bad example of that would be the Vampire Diaries. It started off strong and I enjoyed it, wondering where it was going to lead. Now I see it's not going to lead anywhere. The writers are just going to keep writing the same types of plots over and over again, teasing the viewer but never giving viewers any resolution. That had already become evident to me even before I saw it was renewed for at least one more season. I would guess my opinion is going to be in the minority here, but I don't care. I'm bored with the show already. Especially knowing that the premise which is a good one, is just going to be beat to death until it loses all originality. That has become evident. Oh my god, shots fired. You know what? You know what, Stoshi? I don't think so. Okay? I completely disagree. Now, no, because if there is a season 2, actually, yeah, that is what I'm kind of worried about. If there's a season 2, I feel like they're going to beat that stuff to death and we're not going to actually get anything. It's just going to be the same thing over and over. That is what I'm worried about, but I hope that's not the case. But to say the first season bored you and you're like over it, come on. That entire season had me glued to the screen from beginning to end. I literally didn't do jack else until I finished it. So I disagree with you, Stoshi. I disagree with you. Let me know down in the comments if you all are thinking about watching You, if you all have watched You already. What do you all think about the show? You know, let's have a conversation about it in the comments below. If you like this video, then definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe, turn on post notifications, because I am going to be doing an ending explained video soon enough. I've seen one fan theory already, and I'll just give you all a spoiler alert for that. Basically, this one YouTuber said that the ending explained, Joe kept Beck in the basement and is just like hiding her in the basement, and he thinks that season 2 is going to be part of that. I personally don't think that that's correct because of the way that Joe talks about Beck at the end. Spoiler alert. Hella spoiler alerts just now. Oh man. But no, so the way that Joe talks about Beck at the end, it's like he's moved on extremely fast, and he talks about Beck consistently in a past tense, and basically is just like over her and is glad she got what she's always wanted, which is to be, you know, a really known author, because she wrote that basically that like confession or whatever note she was writing when she was in that Joe's cage or whatever. So he was just really talking about her, you know, in the, you know, past tense, and it just seemed like he completely moved on. Plus, when that one chick walked in the store at the end, he was like doing the same thing that he did with Beck at the beginning, and I thought that was pretty cool because we got to know Joe really well. At the end, we found, you know, just by you know, that ending alone, we got to know him so much more than we knew him before the ending happened. So I thought that was really dope. But yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.
Yeah.